Coach Harbaugh is pretty involved in that. Coach Reed, I think they voiced some comments on it. I probably agree with things they said.
One phrase that I keep hearing is attributed to you is keep the foot in football. Are you worried about where the league is heading?
I can't remember saying that.
No.
Sorry. Who? All right. I don't even know what that means, but whatever.
Oh, it's been attributed to you about keeping the foot in football. Like, I don't remember ever saying that. I don't even know what that means. I love people think I don't love Bill Belichick. I love Bill Belichick. I don't like the fact that he can be a little rude to reporters sometimes. And I've said from time to time, if you don't like the scrutiny that comes with the job, go coach high school lacrosse and be compensated accordingly. But you got to love it when he lets something like that fly. So the big takeaway is he agrees with the things we've heard from folks like John Harbaugh, the Ravens coach, Andy Reid, Chiefs coach, in opposition to the latest change to the kickoff, the fair catch rule adopted from college. If you do a fair catch between the goal line and the 25, you get the ball first and 10 at the 25. The idea, have fewer kickoff returns, incentivize putting the hand in the air, taking the ball at the 5 to 10, whatever. If the kicking team is trying to goad you into running it back, thinking they'll tackle you inside the 25, that was one of the consequences of making every ball that goes into the end zone an automatic touchback. Let's kick it short and let's force them to run it out. So, look, I'm on board with it. You're on board with it. I don't know that it matters, but at least some people in football who know what they're talking about are against this ongoing erosion of the kickoff, Chris.
Right. I'm totally against it. You know that. Now, what I don't know and don't get, and you know, I haven't had enough conversations about this yet with people, is where do they see the unintended consequences where it could be unsafer, right? Right? But I'm still along the lines of, why are we taking this big play out of the football game? Why? And this is a part, I know, you know, again, and I know we want player safety. You know, but at the same time, it falls on deaf ears when you got guys running down the field on a surface that's not safe, and yet we're going to change that surface for Ronaldo and all the other European soccer stars, which pisses me off, all right? But then, so that's like, I don't even want to hear it, the NFL, but you're talking about three guys, and Belichick, Andy Reid, John Harbaugh. There's a reason we say there's three phases of a football game, and they've won a lot of games by winning that third phase. Oh, it's a stalemate game. Oh, wait, that's right. The Kansas City Chiefs just won the Super Bowl because of the third phase of the game. A punt return. I know it wasn't a kick return, but still, it's along the lines of, what are we doing here? Why are we taking this away? And I think that's where those three coaches go. One, this is football. We all know what we signed up for. We've adjusted some of the rules to make it safer. We can continue to do that. But now we're just going to take away a big part of the football game that we felt like we could outcoach other teams with to get an advantage, and now that's gone.
Hey, Chris, there's a thought they're coming for the punt return next.
I know. That's why I was going down that line. Right.
Directions.
I know.
They're trying to take those collisions out.
I was going to go down that wormhole, but I didn't want to confuse it. But I know that's coming down next, and that's why I was bringing up that point as well.
Rich McKay, chair of the competition committee, last week on SiriusXM NFL Radio, in a clip that went largely overlooked, but Pete Demolitis found it on Twitter. Here's McKay defending the latest change to the kickoff.
When we made the move, right, from the 30 to the 35, so we moved the kickoff up, 5 yards. We did that with the idea of, it wasn't rocket science. It was just, let's get fewer returns. Let's bring the injury rate down, the concussion rate down. The way a rule like this comes about is it starts in health and safety. I'm on that committee. There's 11 people on that committee. And in this instance, they kept giving us that data and saying something has got to change with respect to this play. We did this rule change, this college fair catch rule, for 1 year. And we did it with the idea that we've got to try to find a way to get to a longer-term solution, and that longer-term solution should be about keeping the kickoff in the game and having more of them returned, because that's what when we do rules changes right and we come up with creative ways, that's what you're trying to do, make the play more competitive.
It's great that last video has a player wearing the number 19, because 19 was the magic number from the data that got the attention of folks to change the rule this year. 19 concussions on kick returns, unacceptable, must do something, can't have this again. We reported this last week. They can only find 8 concussions on kickoff returns of those 19. For the other 11, the film, the visual evidence did not clearly indicate that a concussion had been suffered based on going to the blue tent afterward, wobbling, coming off of the field. It could have been that play. It could have been a different play. It could have been a concussion that happened in practice and wasn't reported. 8 of the 19, they could say, yes, they happened. The other 11, they don't know where they came from. And there's a suspicion by some of the people who oppose this change,
right,
that they jacked up the numbers.
Of course they did.
To create a false sense of urgency
Right.
that we must change it. Oh, it's 19. We got to change it. If it was, oh, it's 8, well, maybe we should change it. That's a different reaction. It's 19. Man, we better change it.
I mean, it's what I've heard.
More than one a week.
That's what I've heard. Right. It's just a number that, they made so it helps the narrative there. But again, they've fallen on deaf ears with me with the health and safety crap. Again, till the surfaces are changed, I don't really care. And again, I don't know. He talks about he wants to keep the game the same. How does this keep the game the same? How is this going to encourage any returns? I don't know. Some of those that we saw there, I don't know if those are going to be returned now that you get the ball at the 25. And again, it's taken away some of the most exciting plays in the sport. I don't like it at all. I don't. And I don't know where this is going, and I don't know how this is going to end up this season.
We've said plenty about it over the course of the last 10 days or so. Here is Patriots special teams captain, and may even make the Hall of Fame someday because of his contributions to special teams, with his views on the situation. Matthew Slater addressed it yesterday.
It's my understanding that the powers that be think that this is going to improve player safety and health. And, I'm just not convinced that our league is always going to do what's in the best interest of our players. I understand that we want to reduce head injuries and things of that nature, but we don't always act as if player health and safety is paramount. We can talk about the Thursday night games. That's an easy one. That's low-hanging fruit. But we can also talk about the issues that our players experience once they leave the game. Why is it that we have to fight for health care beyond 5 years out of the game? Why is it that when players go to file for benefits in terms of disability, they're having to jump through hoops nonstop? Why is it that we're continuing to fight the battle that we're fighting about grass versus turf? I just don't believe that this is truly in the name of player health and safety. What I do believe is we want to portray ourselves a certain way to the public, to you guys, that says we care about the players. But I can give you a long list of examples, and I've been around this game for almost 40 years. I can give you a long list of examples where the league and the powers that be do not act in the best interest of the players. If we're really concerned with player safety and health, let's talk about some of the real issues that are going to impact player safety and health. Let's not talk about a play where over 99% of the time when the ball is kicked off is injury-free. Those are the facts. Those are the stats. I mean, you can go look them up yourself.
Compelling stuff from Matthew Slater. And Chris, I'm just gonna say it. This is exactly what is driving this. There is a fear that on one of these kick returns, there will be catastrophic injury, like the one that Kevin Everett almost suffered, did suffer, but it wasn't as bad as originally believed back in 2007 when he was on a kickoff return play for the Bills. Eric LeGrand, the Rutgers player who was paralyzed from the neck down, or a death on the field. Look, we celebrate the reality that Damar Hamlin avoided the worst case scenario. If there is a death on the field as a result of an injury that happens on a kickoff return play, it's lights out. It's party over. That's what the NFL is concerned about. Liability standpoint, PR standpoint. They're trying to avoid that. And they got a glimmer. They got a glimpse. They got a peek at what life would be like if someone dies on the field. And I remember Carson Palmer said this back in 2009 to Peter King. Someday someone's going to die on the field. Now the game has been made a lot safer since then. This is their concern, It's not the fact that 99% of the time there are no injuries on the kickoff return. It's what is the nature of the injury that happens on that 1%. And they couch it in concussions. Chris, I think they're worried about that catastrophic neck injury that can happen when you've got two large, fast, strong men running opposite directions, reaching maximum velocity, dipping their helmets instinctively at the point of impact, all the pressure in that C4, C5, C6 area, broken neck, paralysis or worse. That's what they're trying to avoid. They don't come out and say it that way. They couch it as concussions. I think they're trying to minimize the instances where that catastrophic injury can happen. And what they've done, and McKay admitted this. I used this example last week, and who knows whether it makes any sense. But it's like, hey, I've got a habit of juggling hand grenades. I do it once a week. And somebody says to me, you know what? That's not very safe. You should consider doing it once a month. That's how they approach the kickoff. They're not making the play safer. They're just creating a situation where it happens less often. That's not the solution that the league should be looking for.
No, they're changing the game. And for their reasons. That's again, it's for their reason. None of the football people think it needs to be changed. It's their own stuff. You know, I don't know what's next. We're going to take away the receiver catching the ball over the middle and running and doing that. We're just going to tell them to go down so we don't have a DeMar Hamlin, T. Higgins collision. Just go down. You know, we don't want the fans at home to have to see a tough collision. I mean, I want to swear and go off right now. It's football, okay? All right? We didn't stop watching when any of the neck injuries happened. I tuned in just as much the next week. In fact, maybe more, all right? They got to get over this. Football ain't for everybody. See, we've gotten into this thing, too, in this world where everybody gets a blue ribbon and everybody should play. It's not. It's the sport that's not for everybody. It's not.
I hear what you're saying. You're overstating a little bit. Look, we don't want to see the neck injuries happen. We understand there is a small risk of a serious neck injury. Everybody who plays, especially kick returns, you know that potentially can happen. The NFL, I believe, is trying to minimize the occasions where it could happen because of the PR and legal consequences of it happening. And I do think in today's climate, the way the game has evolved, the sensitivities around it, everything we went through a decade ago, and I think it was useful to the overall evolution of the species. If there would be a death on the field, not due to some fluke rare cardiac condition, but two helmets hitting and someone dying because of the impact of that helmet on their neck and their body, and that's it, I think it would have a dramatic impact on the game. And it would have a dramatic impact on the bottom line of the NFL, and that's what they're always trying to protect. So, yes, there are plenty of other ways they can show concern for the players, and they don't. This is a concern that ultimately goes back to their pockets, and that's why they keep pushing it.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.